So in this video, we play 52 crimp pickup. We play engine keep fit. We attempt a cheeky product placement. I point out my little tool. Yeah. Hello, welcome to Tweed's Garage. In this video, we're continuing work with the Honda RS250. Last time, we proved whether you could go in from the bottom and change the final drive seal, which you can, and it works with a bit of care. This video, we do sort of things like valve clearances, popping the engine back in the frame. What else? Oh, yeah, tidying up wiring, putting new connectors on, new crimp connectors, all that kind of thing. Yeah, so come along, let's go outside where I left it. This way. Oh no, the engine's in here. And you may have noticed I've got the rocker covers off. They were a bit of a fight. I don't think they've been off in a while. Just thought I'd check the valve clearances, and there's hardly any, which is not a surprise. You know, as these engines, as the valves pound their way into the head over the years on overhead cam engines, the clearances get smaller rather than larger, unless you've got a serious cam wear problem. So I'll take you along for the ride as we check the valve clearances. So first thing we done was remove the two covers. There's one at the top here that covers the timing marks at the top of the flywheel. And there's a second one here that covers the crank nut, so you can get a socket on there, turn the engine over. You wait until the inlet valves have closed and the piston's coming back up, and then you know that's top dead center, and you want to get it so that T there on the flywheel lines up with that little arrow up the top, and that's sort of top dead center. And that's where you do your inlet and exhaust valve clearances. Little nut you undo there, and then you do up the little screw in the middle there, and then hold that, tighten that up once you've got your clearances underneath. And we've got a special tool for doing that. Here it is, the Honda tappet adjusting tool. Got a little square end there to go over the valve screw, and then you can hold that tight. Makes the job a whole lot easier, and you can get a ring spanner over here to nip them up. These are available. I got these are genuine Honda ones. Got these from David Silver, Honda Spares. So yeah, I think they're about £3 or £4, but worth it. Well, especially as I've got two Hondas that use these. Handy little tool. Right, let's get on and do them. So we've got feeler gauges, our little Honda tool for there, and an 8mm ring spanner to undo and tighten the lock nuts. So just check our clearances. It's 0.1 of a millimetre, or point. Yeah, and that won't go under there, so they're a little bit on the tight side. So let's hold that. Hopefully they haven't been gorillaed up. Yeah, I think they have. Oh yeah, why do people do them so tight? Let's try and break them off with a socket first. There we go. There we go. Right. Slide a feeler gauge under there. Let's try about there. bit loose when we lift it up a bit, so tighten it up just a squeak more. Yeah, that feels okay. Let's try a 0.15. Yeah, that is tight in there. So I think we're okay for that one. We'll do the next one. Again, 0.1 of a millimetre. Slide it under there. Yeah, and there's such a small clearance, you can just about get them to tap. Yeah, so that's them done. Just give them a little squeak, not too much. So the next person can get them undone. So we can pop the cover back on that one. So yeah, there you go, valve clearances. So just rinse and repeat, but we will crack those off first with a socket. Yep. .05. Job done. So rocker covers back on. Pop the O-ring in. Hopefully those little nubs will hold it in place there, there and there. Squeeze it in there, that's it. Oh, there's two at the ends as well. There we go. Pop that on. Shiny fasteners. There's a bit of crap in there. No, the end's a bit distorted on there. Try another one. There we go. Is that one done? With the valve clearances done, we can put the covers back on, and the gasket set came with new O-rings for those as well, so pop those on. And the same for the bigger one, covers the crank nut. They were really tight, I had to get the impact driver to get those off. without chewing them up. There we go. So that's the engine back together. Exhaust studs replaced, valve clearance is done. What else we've got to do? So we've got to do the electrical connections, replace those and tidy up the wiring. Got the oil seals to put in for the kickstart and the gear change. Put on a new sprocket, but unfortunately I'm waiting on those parts, and I'm waiting for a decent crimp tool to do a nice job on the crimps. So for now, I'm going to stick this back in the frame, and then I can continue work on it from there. Right, let's get humping. Just a little wedge here, a little wedge there. There we go. It's between the frames. Give the engine bolts a bit of a copper slip in. And just balance it on the wedges. One in like that. That's in. Make sure there's no wires trapped underneath or throttle cables. That's better. We will get some washers to go under those. Just put everything together loosely. And again, copper slip it all up. That's it. And then the other nut, thought we'd lost it. There it is. So that's the engine now hanging on 3 engine mounts. It's not going to go anywhere. Need a thing. Hang on. What are they called? Podge. Pog? Yeah, that's what we need, isn't it? Start putting one in from the other side. It's been a bit of a cuss. There we go. Just a bit of persuasion. And then just the bottom one in. And I think we're about there. Right, washers on. Well, my newly polished crash guards aren't going to go rusty with all that copper slip on them. Or my hammer. Got it everywhere. Okay. Let's tighten up the 13s on the crash bars. Okay, that's all done. I think we'll put the carburetor back on. Won't worry about the airbox because we've got to sort these connectors out. I think the exhaust can go back on, and yeah, just wipe some of this copper slip off. It goes everywhere. Get this from old Fuzzy's company, the old classic oils. Yeah, it's expensive, but it's mostly copper. Right, I'm doing that. What are you doing? There's an earwig. Is there? Where is it? Oh! Get off. Right, let's pop the carb back on. Bit more slack. And yes, they are JIS pattern screwdrivers and Phillips, Japanese Phillips. There we go. It's got a little tab at the top that locates with a little slot, so you know you've got it up the right way. Check everything else what's with that. Check the overflows again where they're meant to, down there. Up to the fuel tank. Check the throttles are all working. Yep, throttle pumps are fine. So I think we just got to put the brake bracket on the other side. And can't put the gear change on because we're waiting for the seal. Okay, couldn't find an 11, so just to infuriate people, there we go, whipping the old King Dick out. Yeah, it's okay, it's a metric one. Okay, that's that. Can you see what else I've got to do? Okay, just got to do this brake bracket up. Okay, that's there. Clutch cable, decompressor cable, rev counter drive. Let's hook that horrible O-ring and sealant out of there. Right, go and have a look at my gasket set, see if we got one that size. It looks like the one, but yeah, it looks a bit small. Exhaust gaskets. Go and have a look through the sets I've got. Find a better one. Yeah, found one in the set that's same diameter as the old one I took off. So I think that'll be a better bet. Just roll it over there. There we go, it's gone in there nicely. It's sitting proud. But tight in there, so yeah, it's got a bit of squish. So what we do is line that slot up with the sort of rod that we got in there in the camshaft, like so. That's it. It's in. Yep. It's popped in nicely. Right. We're running out of bolts. I think that went in there. Right, Rev counter drive on. More copper slip all over the place. Okay, so we've done that. I think pop the exhaust on. Next, got the exhaust gaskets here. So they hold in there. Gently tap them home. Okay. The pile of parts are getting smaller. They're not too bad, these exhausts. They sort of exhaust, but they do have a few racing holes in them. Having seen the price of replacement systems, yeah, it's about half what I paid for the bike. Okay, one exhaust on there. What do you want? What do you want? Feeding, dear. Oh, it's feed time. Okay. Hey, Walt Disney never had to have this. Never had this problem. We apologise for the interruption in your transmission. Go on in. Let's go and feed you. Right, one down. One to go. And no, I'm not polishing these. I might polish a hole in them. And then we'll run it for a bit and just check those, because those gaskets will probably compress down a little bit. That screws in there nicely, lines up better this side. Okay, so we've got all the materials we need. Got heat shrink sleeving, and then a crimp set that's got the 2 crimp, 3 crimp, 4 crimp, male and female connectors we need, plus all the crimps to wire them up. So then we've got all the tools we need. Got wire cutters, wire strippers, trace wire for pulling the wires back through the sleeving, heat gun for the heat shrink, and then a crimp tool for those open crimps, and then a trowel and a watering can just in case Mrs. Tweed comes out and we've got to look busy. So this connector goes to this connector, and we can see when we get it the right way round that the blue wire here goes to the blue and yellow on the other side, and the green goes to the green and white. So it's easy enough to follow, so we can just snip these ones off. Come back a little bit because they're a little bit grotty. That one and that one, like that. That's that connector gone. And what we'll do is slide the cable out of the sleeving and then out of that bit of sleeving as well. And then we'll put some heat shrink down. Let's find some heat shrink. That'll do. Don't want anything too big. Just enough to slide down. Yeah, that'll do the job. So we'll cut some bits to slide down just to bolster up down there. I'll take you around. Okay, so we see here the insulation is tatty on this one here and starting to go on this one here. So we'll pop some heat sleeves down them. Like so. Just get it down and beyond the damage, like that. Like that. And then just the heat gun on them. There we go, that'll do those, and then we'll just feed the sleeving back on if we can. First this fluffy one. Yeah, it's going in okay. That was what I thought we'd have trouble with. Like so. And then this hard plastic one. That's going okay. That's to go inside that one a bit. So we just pinch the wires through there and push. There you go, and then they come out that end. There we go. Then we can tuck that over that way, ready to wire it back up again. Simple as that. So we're going to copy what we've got. So we've got male connectors up there, male crimps, and then the female crimps go on this one. So I've got the male crimps here and the male crimp connector there. So we'll just start putting the crimps on and put it together. So strip the wires back, just see which size does best. There we go. That one, we want it to sort of sit in the crimp. I'll probably have to trim it back a bit, but not go into where the male connector pushes into. So I'll just nip that off a bit, like so. What I will do is, if I can find it, add a bit of heat shrink sleeving. I'll put some heat shrink sleeving down and bring it back over these ends to keep these fabric insulation together. So before we start crimping, remember to put the heat shrinking on. That goes on like so. Let me get our crimp. Put the crimp like so. Then pop the wire in like so, and then give it a squeeze. And then release. That's all nicely crimped up. And then what I'll do is I'll slide the insulation down. Dog's investigating. And then rinse and repeat. Put the crimp in the crimp tool, so get it to start closing up. Pop the cable in. Get it so the wire is in the second crimp piece, and then just give it a squeeze. There we go. Well, there we don't go, because I forgot to put me heat shrinking on. Even Mr. Tweed's not infallible. Heat sleeving. Strip it back a little bit. Get it in position. And crimp. That's alright, a bit of a twist on there, not the best, but that'll do. Okay, and then they should insert into the back of the connector. We want to get them the right way around, so we want keep the top one with the spring clip there, so blue one goes to the top, in like that. It should click in, and then the green one goes down the bottom that way. There we go, that's that one done. Let's do the corresponding one on the bike. Let's pull it down a bit. See if we can get these crimps out, just to maximise the cable length. So just poke a little pokey stick in there. like that. Can nip those off there. That one there. There's that one. Let's get a crimp on it before we damage the end of it. Don't need heat shrinking on these. The insulation's sort of different type. This is a bit like they use on aircraft. This sort of mini kniving they used to call it, like a nylon coating, but then they did have a plastic coating around the outside of that, and the coating on rubberized coating on the inside. Things you remember. Mini kniving, and it was heat rated. There was different heat ratings. Right, there we go. There's one. There we go. Then we get our connector case, and it was blue up at the top latch end, so that goes in that way. And that one goes in that way like that. There we go. And then there we go, one connector done. All I've got to do is do that one, those two, and the one up here. So I'll get on and do that. So just check the colours. Green goes to green, blue goes to blue, and I think that was originally white. So finally the postman's been, and all the parts have arrived to finish the job. So we've got a heavy duty chain, because the RS250s do eat chain, so it's recommended just to go the extra few quid, fit heavy duty chain, sprocket front and rear, and then the two oil seals we need, one for the gear change, one for the kickstart, and the dog's in. Oi, out the bin. Right, take the kickstart off, ready to pop the kickstart O-ring in. So I've got a socket that will go over it, hopefully go over the start shaft as well. And what I'll do is just put a bit of silicone grease on the outside and inside edge, just to protect the lips of the seal as I put it on over the kickstart over there as well. And gently place it over there, over there. There it goes. this over the shaft. Get our little socket there. Give it a little. That's it. I think that's done and dusted. Yep, that's home. We'll pop the kickstart back on. There, was it one spline more? One spline more. That's all tucked in nicely then. And pop the Allen key in. I'll do that up, and that's that side done. Right, and we'll just do the same again. Rinse and repeat with the gear change seal as well. Put the grease around there. Can't get my finger in the seal. Right. In fact, we'll put some all over that. Don't want to damage it on the splines. And they pretty much go in by themselves without having to tap them in, actually. Yep, just get a little tappy stick, make sure that's home. Yep, job done. Right, let's get this old sprocket off. It's fairly easy. You just undo those two bolts there, turn this locating washer round so the splines line up, and that slides off, and then the sprocket comes off as well. There we go. Now, one thing I've discovered, only after I put the engine back in again, is the grease nipple is broken off on this side. Just in there. Now, when I first looked at it, I thought this was the flat to the nut of the nipple that held it in, but just looking at the other side, this is a sort of nut that's been welded in. That's why it didn't come undone. And then the grease nipple's in the middle of that. Now, I don't know whether I can get that out, but we will give it a little try. Let's see if we can get something in there. Okay, I'm not going to get a tap wrench in there, but maybe a little adjustable might get on there. So that's that size. All the fatter one go in. The fatter the better. Nope, it's not going to go in, so it'll have to be one of the thin ones. Okay, and I can't get in there and tap it either, but hopefully, yeah, I don't think that's going to hit the spindle. We'll just give that a little twist. Hang on, let me get me tiny adjustables. Oh, and I found I'd hidden some mini cream eggs in the toolbox, so I'll just pop one of these in. And attempt to get that out. Apologies for the cream egg eating noises. It might just be hitting, yeah, Might just be a little bit too long. I don't want to break one, that'd be sacrilege. See if I've got any more. Okay, I've ground down a Allen key, make a rudimentary easy out. I don't know if I can get in there and tap that in. Oh, yeah, that might work. I'll put a bit of effort behind there. Not sure if that was going round or not. Just managing to shred it, that's about it. I think this might be a swing arm off, or I've got to take the back wheel out, so maybe take the back wheel out, drop the springs off, drop the swing arm down, so this then goes up here, and I might be able to get in and work on it. Give it one more go. Nope. Okay. Right. So before we put this back on, we'll take the back wheel off, see if we can deal with this. If not, that'll be a job for another day. And get this all back together. So there you go. That's enough work on the Honda for now. Made good progress. Got the engine back in the frame. Started to button it all back up again, but then found that issue with the grease nipple, and of course it sort of snowballed and escalated. So that will be in the next video. Hope you liked the video. If you did, give us a little like, hit subscribe, and as I said before, if you see that little hype button when the video's out the first 7 days, give it a little pokey or a smashy or whatever you like, and we'll see you next time. All right, probably a bit more Scott next time, and then there'll be some more Honda. So I look forward to seeing you then. All right, cheerio. Here, Jenkins, have you been eating my Cadbury's cream eggs? There'll be a bit of Scott, and then we'll be doing a bit more on the Honda, and he's fired his mixer up again. I'll put my notes. Can't read. Got me looking down the garden glasses. Probably done just before the mixer come in. So there you go. There's progress so far on the Vonda. Right, Jenkins, can you go and tell him to turn his bloody cement mixer off?